Oh, hi guys. It helps if you push the go live button. Y'all been chatting, and I was thought that meant you were live. Thank you, Glenn, for pointing that out. So I guess let me just start over real quick. Okay, hey, remember, this didn't happen. BRB. Oh, look, it's the first time. Hey, everybody, welcome. This is clearly not the second time I've started this. So, all right, let's start over. Welcome. It's another Binary Ninja live stream. All right, and I got to remember all the jokes I made. They weren't very good, but that's okay. So, thank you, Glenn, for letting me know. Um, we are well. Yes, for those who aren't aware, a hurricane came through Melbourne. This was supposed to be last week, and I was like literally talking to the screen. My audio levels look good. I saw people in chat. I hadn't hit go live. I had to hit that crucial button. The worst part was y'all missed the really fun. I know exactly, just me. The worst part was y'all missed the cute the countdown stream. This time actually had the don't panic sliding across the whole time, so it had an even better countdown timer than normal. I put all that effort into it. No one can see it. So I've left it up here. You can see a little bit during the 5-minute countdown. It was supposed to be showing this right here. I should have checked on another device. So yeah, we had a hurricane hit us here. We're all good. No major damage. Lots of trees down and minor stuff, but nothing crazy. A couple yards got flooded, but no major destruction. So that was awesome. Okay, good. And you know what? Even better, I think I now officially count more non-Vector 35 people than Vector 35 people in the chat. So total count is where we're outnumbered, which is good. Yeah, this is the 4.2 release of feature stream for Binary Ninja. So if you're not familiar, if you haven't caught one before, it's been a while since I streamed. It's been a really long time, and I'm super hyped to be back. Just been craziness, lots of busyness. Whole bunch of stuff has happened since the last time I streamed, and hopefully I can kind of get back into things. But this will be a grow. This one I expect to take a while too, because we have all sorts of goodies to talk about. Even just a couple weeks ago, we were looking through our list of like features, and we're like, oh man, are we gonna have enough features in 4.2? And then of course, like we get down to it, and there's just a bonkers good list. There are so many top tier issues that it's pretty exciting. So yeah, welcome back. If you got any questions, as always, just ask them in chat. The actual release timeline, good question. You can always tell at least what we think our current release schedule is going to be. If you go to the repo, under the issue milestones, we actually put what we estimate for our release date, right? So these are, especially like the further ones out, these are very rough estimates. Current plan though is November 13th. I know, Robert. I thought about hiding it. I do have a surprise still for you. Even this is just to like whet your appetite, but there's still one more thing. I've got literally a release here in the builds called the One More Thing release of Binary Ninja. So you don't here. For those of you who don't want to be spoiled, just don't go rewind, and everybody else you can go rewind a few seconds and you can see it. And then a couple of them have things here, but so yeah, we've got the One More Thing release. We've got a couple cool stuff coming up there. I'll turn off the towel. That was cute, but well, I'm not gonna keep overwhelming you. So yeah, let's dig right into it. Again, if you're not familiar, drop in, ask questions at any time. I love interruptions. It means I know people are there, so I'm always happy to have that. First feature that we want to talk about is actually not a feature on Binary Ninja itself, but it's about the license management. It's like how you're like when you purchase and use Binary Ninja. Ironically, it's actually similar to Hexrays. They now have kind of like a customer portal thing, so you can do like self-management. You can upgrade your licenses. You can manage multiple licenses. You can download old clients, and that's the really exciting thing for a lot of individuals in particular. Like if you bought Binary Ninja 3 years ago and you didn't renew, we don't have the old installers online, so we've never had a way to like have a system that would validate and give you the old ones and download them. And so we just wasn't something we could offer for people, and it was kind of frustrating for some of our former customers. And we always said, hey, like that we know we want to be able to do that, but it just isn't something that we support right now. And so that's getting solved. So ironically, that means people who aren't our customers will be getting the best benefit from that. But all the current customers, it'll just be a much nicer interface. So you can track your renewals, you can see when it's coming up more easily. And especially for companies where they've got multiple, things that are juggling, they can track all that. So it's also really kind of part of like the Binary Ninja login ecosystem. So you've already got the Sidekick logging into the accounts.binary.ninja. It's going to use that. Eventually, we'll migrate Cloud to that. So you'll have all these things kind of behind one consistent interface. Yeah, and the license management is available for all customers. You'll be able to do this for all versions. This is not just for commercial enterprise or anything like that. But this is right now for all of your online licenses. There's some eventual plans to even use this infrastructure for enterprise customers in their like offline version that they're running locally to use a similar kind of interface as we have more like bundled versions. But yes, and exactly, Joe, that's exactly right. You'll be able to go up and down. So you want to like go from non-commercial to commercial or commercial back to non-commercial. You'll be able to do that yourself. You don't have to get a manual invoice from us. So it's less work for us. It's less work for you. Everybody wins. It should make things like super nice. So that's pretty exciting. You won't get latest dev releases. So that if you like your license is expiring, save off your dev releases manually. We're still not going to have those because we don't really publish dev installers. We only have available the update server where you can like, actually that's not true. I think we do. Yeah, we do actually have the dev installers because the new email recovery can do it, but we're not going to keep all of them forever. Just it'll get pretty big. So this will only be the stable releases that you'll get here, but that's a huge still improvement there. So that's coming. And again, we can look through. These are like the kind of prototypes. This is real code that that Brent is working on. So this is actual like a real site. He just didn't have it up where I could access it with a live demo. But these are all functional things. I've seen some other demos of it. So that's coming. Don't have an exact time frame on that. It may or may not be exactly with the release, but we're hoping to get it sometime around then. Would be nice, but we'll see. So yeah, you can see really nice interface customer portal. That is feature number 1. All right, feature number 2 is going to be the debugger, and I need to check that I'm on the right build. So you'll see one thing, yeah, I'll stop debugging that. I think that was it then. One thing that we do is not every feature I'm showing you is on dev. Yeah, I know I did something nasty there. Ignore that. This is also part of the reason why some of these, so some of the features I'm going to show off are already available. They're on dev. You can get them yourself. And then some of them are only on test branches. And so those will be landing in the next few weeks because we do have a feature freeze coming up, and then we'll have a bug fix freeze after that. So expect all these that I demoed today that are on these test branches to be soon within the next, and some of them will be probably in a matter of days. Some of them might be next week that we'll be getting those. So the debugger has had a number of different updates. Shushan left me some great notes. Make sure I pull those up. And this one, the feature I'm gonna show off here. So first we have a little hello world binary. Which is just gonna hello world, tell you the number of arguments that it was run with, which actually I think I can, let me see, if I run that, I set command line parameters? I think I can, yeah. Let's just set some command line parameters. Let's accept that. Let's just run it real quick and just see. Yes, I'm about to debug it. And we should have an initial breakpoint, and then I can continue. And it should just run to the end, and we can see we get all of our arguments dumped out, right? So that's the little for loop, dump all the arguments. Perfect, makes sense. All right, now though, let's go ahead and set some breakpoints. So I can right click and do that, or I can use the hotkey F2, the default. You can rebind those, of course. And now if I run this, if you look down here, now this isn't probably the final icon. This is one of the reasons this is on a test branch. You can bring up the debugger info dialog. And so this is basically the precursor to something like a watch window. It's starting to bridge the gap from just a regular debugger, like an x64DBG, and a decompiler based debugger, or like an IDE environment. And so if I actually see, I've set those breakpoints, so I should be able to resume, and I'll hit my first breakpoint. Oh, I know. And this is the thing I gotta remember is right now this only exists on low-level, but the feature will be promoted across all of them. The parameters for printf are missing. Oh, that's a good question. Let's go back here. Oh, on this one here. And why does it do it on the list there? So this is probably just because it's not variadic, and so I can fix that by setting that. This is a separate issue where we have type libraries for ARM on Mac, but they're not as good as they should be, and so they're missing a couple of like really obvious stuff. We've actually got a fallback type library that can be used here, and it's something that we need to basically loosen the restrictions on, because they're like right now this would already be, oh, you know what, I'm gonna turn on my favorite setting, tooltips, be manual, because the pop-ups are gonna drive me nuts. I see them like flashing out of the corner of my eye every time I hover over something. And so one of the things we need to do, and I forget if that issue is tracked for this release or not, is that it will relax it. So like, for example, this macOS libc will be able to use the default ones, which would improve that. You wouldn't have to do that manually. So it's an easy fix for this particular case, but you shouldn't even have to. All right, so let me go back to low-level IL. So the thing you'll notice is this debugger info dialog down here now actually has the arguments and variables from the low-level IL propagated up here. So again, this is kind of like the beginning of a watch window. No, I didn't specify any of these, Ben. This is just default, and it does it based on the IL and the instructions and the context of the variable. So it knows it's call, it knows it has parameters, so it's querying all that. It'll be a little bit more obvious when you're at the medium level IL. But like I said, it's the kind of a feature preview that only exists here. There's a couple of other, so some of the other, oh, I didn't copy over the screenshots. But it can also symbolicate stack traces. So if you actually have a stack trace, you'll get better, I think on this one. Oh, there we go. Yeah, exactly. So these are much nicer information in the stack trace view as well. You can see all the different threads even too. So if there's multiple threads, you'd see all those. So that's another big change. And also the context menu. So when I set that breakpoint, they're right over here. I think it used to be like under plugin debugger. It was a little bit too deep. Now you could use the hotkeys and map those, but we're actually in the process of redoing the right-click menu as well. So it's a little bit messy right now. We really need to move some stuff. So I think we're probably going to move things that are like function related, like edit functional properties or override call type, rename current function, reanalyze current function. A lot of these very function specific ones into just a function level one. So you'll have like the usual copy stuff. You'll have the things you can do in a particular line. You'll have things you can do in a function in its own submenu. So we're still working on exactly what that looks like. So we really have a pretty messy right-click menu. It's just we keep adding new features, and so they always end up in there. And so that's gonna get cleaned up. Also, if you're not familiar, if you haven't seen one of these streams, this is equivalent to if you look at like our old blog releases for like a new release. So if we just go back to like 4.1, you can see the sort of major releases are here. Like this is the major set of features, and then we have like 100 other like bug fixes, improvements, features, and tons of other things. So there is a lot more coming out in this next release than I'm even going to touch on. These are just the things that we thought were the most noteworthy and the most obvious that we want to get people kind of excited for, and to make sure that you're aware that is in it. Generally, the things that are in this list in the blog that we do like this like really detailed stuff for, or no, don't write the bugs. So anything we do up here in the blog is generally the kind of thing that we will show off on the stream. Occasionally though, sometimes stuff will slip and actually be a feature that we don't show off now, but we'll actually make it in the release. So there's a couple, in fact, there's one in particular I'm waiting on. We'll see if it makes it in. You'll see it in the blog, but I don't want to tease that one too much. So yeah, so the debugger got the ability to kind of see variables, and this is, so again, further work that still needs to be done on it, and the reason it's not on dev is working at the other IL levels, as well as, again, I don't know from Shusheng if he plans to have the what was it? Okay, yeah, so the other one's already in dev. So actually, yeah, the stacked stuff, this already is on dev. The context menus being moved is already on dev. The stack trace being suballocated was on Windows. That was the part that got added. And the function name offsets is on all platforms. But where was the other one? There we go. Right. Okay. So I don't know whether he's going to have the specific watch UI. I don't think that's going to make it in the next table. It'll probably be on the following dev. But the idea to set custom watch points, this is sort of the foundation for it. This UI that shows the variables here. So that's the beginnings of it, which will be super nice. So yeah, several major stuff coming in the debugger. If you use that, it's really useful. And there's one other, or was it? guess we could, actually, I wonder if we set a breakpoint here. This one's in the loop, right? Or, yeah, so that one's in the loop. So let's actually hotkey that one. And let's just keep going. Let's run to that. So that one, it is showing the parameters there, but those don't get shown. Interesting. I was curious. The counter variables, I was looking to see those in the watch in the debugger info window. So that one's not quite working the way I would expect it. So again, this is the features with the most rough edges are the ones that tend to still be in development, right? So that's why they're on a test branch, but not too much longer. This should be soon. Yes, yeah, Mike. The QEMU debugger, I believe, is supported if you select. You have to do remote debugging, or we have to stop it first. I forget. There was a way. Actually, here, let me check the docs because I think that's where it's written up. Under user guide, under debugger, remote debugging. So if the host is Mac, can you debug Linux remotely and a GDB server remotely? Yeah, you can. So you can do remote debugging. So on the remote host, you run the debug server. You can also run LDB server, but I don't know if QEMU supports that one. But yeah, it supports a GDB remote. I don't know how to do it though. I've never actually done the remote debugging. Yeah, that's okay. So now how do I connect to the remote process? Right. Run the server. Got it. How do I attach? Connecting to it. Debugger connect to, oh, okay. You have to specify it's remote. Those are just local only. Does that make sense? Okay, so debugger, okay. Connect to remote debug server. Oh, there you go. Oh, QEMU user is literally one of the platforms. So yes, that'd be how you do it. All right. Well, good. I'm always glad when the docs answer a question that I didn't know. I think Bennett only does it during breakpoints right now, but I'm not sure. I don't think LLDB directly supports watch variables. We're not using the debugger interface itself. We're using Binary Ninja's analysis of what we consider variables and the storage locations, the memory addresses, or where those things are, and we're querying that to be able to render in the UI. So I don't think the backend itself is what supports it. I think it's actually our UI and our decompilation that we're applying to it. But I could be wrong there. I'd have to ask Yusung to be sure, but that's my guess. So let me see. Let me read over my notes to make sure I didn't miss anything. So it's IL for now. It will be later. Oh, right. Again, the sort of the placement and like the UI feedback. He's interested in if you have ideas, if you're using the debugger and you have suggestions on where the UI should it be, on the lower right, should it be default to over here, be one of these. You can kind of move it around, but we would be interested in your perspective and also suggestions for another icon because we're always looking for icon ideas. IL back to assembly when? Oh, yeah, when can you modify IL? Like you patch IL, you mean? Or which do you mean there? All right, so that's some of the debugger stuff. Cool. Anything else? Oh yeah, hold on, there's another one. Let's go, let me do, it also does branch targets, which I haven't seen before. So this one is a branch target. Let's actually clear this one. Clear this one. Oh, we're already past it. That's all right. We'll restart it. So now we'll just, for that matter, disconnected. So restart it, run to the breakpoint. Oh, okay. Yeah. So and let's actually split this. Show me the, actually, oh, that was one of them. I showed off one of the new features. Did you notice it? Okay. Who noticed that? I split the view and what did I get? This is actually one of my favorite sort of little features that snuck into this release. I think was it Josh implemented it or somebody did that at our offsite a few weeks ago. It's a little subtle thing, but this is my absolute favorite feature. That well, I don't know some other really good ones. Just wait. But if you split, it no longer splits to the same IL view you were at before. It splits to the next one in the carousel. So in other words, if you just hit I and like I cycle through medium, high, disassembly, low, medium, and you can control that by the way. There's a variable or setting called SEL carousel. So you can choose the order of both linear and graph view and like which ones they cycle between. And so now if you're on one, like if I'm at high level IL and I split again, it will go straight to disassembly. And I found that that's just much more useful because I rarely want to split and look at the same IL view. You can, like you might want to do that, but you can always switch back or change the output. But I really like that. It's a little thing. That was one that makes me super happy. So yeah, so this branch is checking if I is equal to 0 in high level IL. And here we're getting expression 0 is equal to 0. 14 is equal to that. Yeah, so I assume this is, yeah, so RB414 is our I, right? It's just telling us this constant value. Yeah, there we go. So we don't have to specifically go look at that memory value. It's actually calculating it for us. And we know, for example, that we're, while I is less than, we're rather going to succeed at that. So this is a go-to, actually. So this is not the conditional yet. So let's step, this is the conditional I meant to check before. Oh, yeah, and then the hint, whether we're going to branch or not. Yeah. Shows the decompilation too at that line, or rather the lifting of the low level lifting. Yeah, super nice. Okay, so yes, Ben, you can thank Josh for that one. And so Robert, not anytime real soon. It's something we continue to think about and talk about. Emitting back, not yet, not yet. Now we also do want to make workflows a little bit easier. We'll talk more about that later. So okay, I think that's it for debugger. Let me check my cheat sheet. Go back to the notes. All right, IDB import, cool. So for that, I'm just going to head on over to the latest dev. So this is one of the features that you can get. Yes, oops. Yes, I did want to stop it. This is one that's on dev right now, and it's still, however, in progress. But because it's like not, it's kind of off to the side and it's able to be iterated separately, we're not blocking it being added to dev. And so there's doing some rounds of feedback and stuff on it. But if you have some IDBs, you have a bunch of information that you've got stored in them and you want to like port it over to Binja, there's been a couple of different projects and tools in the past for doing that. We even had our own IDB import previously that we actually kind of pulled from the product because it was pretty buggy, and we've been working on rewriting it. Well, I would say it just wasn't complete. It was never kind of worked on the way that we wanted to. So now we're making a second effort to really do a better job of making it load. So you've got, you notice I've got the original file here, and we've got this i64 file. The way that you load these extra files are basically through our debug info. Right now, this is something that we could change. We've thought about it, but we're probably going to like for now, this is just how it's being implemented. Anytime you have PDB, dwarf, like an external source of information, like map files, Borland map files, or whatever the file is, we have special loaders called debug info loaders. And the reason you might want to do this is because you may want to like open a file and not trigger analysis yet. You might want to wait until you can apply a bunch of debug information. It's especially true, again, when you got dwarf, you have correct function starts, you have correct function names and types and variables. And so it's better to not do our initial binary ninja analysis where it's just because anytime you have to guess where function starts are, for example, you're more likely to be wrong. So Ben, that's a great question. Let's find out. So let's load this IDB and grab it from over here and apply it here. And there you go. It pulls over comments. So yes, it does. Binja supports loading map files, not directly, but it does via a plugin that I wrote. Let me see if I can find it this way. Where is it? I think it's linked. Not that one. This one. Which actually, I want to say under the documentation, developer guide. Do we link it in here? I know we have a link to it somewhere in the docs. Cookbook, yeah. So if you search on the developer guide and you search for cookbook, it's just a bunch of examples and recipes of like Binja things. And there's this one here, which is just my collection of little Python snippets. And I believe here, yeah, load Borland map. There's a little snippet you can load in. They're really straightforward. The format is pretty easy. So Ben, please give it a try. And if it doesn't work, that's a good point as well. You can go here and file an issue on it. So this is, it's open source. We're working with somebody else who's been contributing a lot. One of Ruben's has been doing some contract development work for us. And so we've had him working on the IDB import script in Rust. So he does a lot of our Rust work. Oh, was there? Did somebody say structure comments? Did I miss that? No, I assume not Galen, but yeah, exactly. Anything that Binge doesn't support is not going to get pulled over. Um, but let's see. So yeah, so you can file issues here. So there's already a couple of example IDBs that don't parse correctly, and that we'll be working on trying to improve it and get it working with new features and fixes. And so in fact, two that I've wanted are in particular, Rolf Rolls has these really meticulously annotated IDBs from some malware analysis that he did. So yeah, so he's making progress on that. So he's already made some improvements. So I'm looking forward to doing those because I really want to see how Binja looks with the decompilation of those particular samples. If you're not familiar with it, I think it's linked to. Oh, I think he actually committed them as test files and linked them here. Yeah. So this is Rolf Rolls does obviously some fantastic stuff, and he published a couple of hashes for some pieces of malware, and along with his IDBs. So fun fact about the way IDBs are implemented, the IDB doesn't have the full the full original binary in an easily reconstructible way. It has like all of the bits and bytes of it, but it's been sliced up, and it's actually non-trivial. I don't know of any tool that parses out and recreates an exact ELF. It's like not meant to be done. I don't even think IDA has tools. Like they can't take an IDB and reconstruct the ELF right now. I'd love to be wrong, but at least that's my understanding of how it works. And so it right now, even for Binary Ninja, for anything else, you would actually load the IDB. You'd still have to have the original file, and then you would load up the debug info from the IDB, and then you'd apply it all to Binary Ninja. So you can see all that here. I think it also pulled in some types, which I thought was interesting. So you can see the debug info types got loaded. In this case, it's just ELF types that we already had. So in fact, we have significantly more ELF types that we do by default, and but you can see some of them are getting pulled over. So if you did have structures and types, those should be pulled over as well. So this particular test file is really simple. We need to get some better ones. But yeah, that feature's in there. Again, that's one that I would love to have people try. And because it's an open source library, an open source implementation, we welcome, back up a little bit here, where was it? We welcome file issues. There's a pull request already. Okay. Oh, he's, yeah, PRing the repo just for tracking. So, yep. Let me see. No, it doesn't support exporting at all. Like it's hard enough. Just deal. It's not a trivial file format, and so we don't have any desire to export it for now. Maybe at some point we'd probably be more likely to create a BNDB importer for IDA. I think they patch. They have a copy of the original binary. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. Again, try it. It's like go take a binary, make an IDB, remove the original binary, and then tell it to patch it and then re-emit the original binary. I don't think it can do it, but again, it's the last time I tried it. I could be wrong though. Hey, Zion. Supporting register vars. Oh, in the data that we extract. I don't know how far we're gonna get. Because yeah, you would more than anybody know about speaking of other ways that you can send data between tools if other folks aren't familiar with like BinSync. Which is Zion's tool, to be able to like collaboratively reverse engineer with other tools. It has to deal with the different idiosyncrasies of Ghidra and IDA and Binja and Anger and whatnot. So I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question. Welcome. Let me scroll back, make sure I didn't miss anything else. And yeah, so Mike, I think it's still a little bit, I don't yet even know, and we're still trying to go back and test. We do have a couple years worth of IDA versions on our, it's good code, of course I'll shout it out. It's a great plugin. Several good things you've done. There's, yeah, we have several old versions that we need to go back, and we still need to do more testing about which one is which. I don't know. Importing the IDB didn't fix your function? Are you trying to do this in Binja right now? Let me think. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so just if people aren't aware, that we do function boundaries differently, and we don't have the ability to say like a function stops here. Rather, you must tell our analysis why code shouldn't go there, essentially. Because the only reason we create bytes as a part of a function is because we saw a control flow go there, or we saw a fall through go through, we saw something that caused that indicated that analysis could go there. And so you can, right now, you can fix that essentially by identifying what's causing the code to flow there and then modifying that. There's a lot of different tools you can use to do that. But we don't give you the ability just to say, nope, function stops here, which is something that other tools sometimes allow. We sort of intentionally, as a design philosophy, don't do that because we think it's actually better to identify the root cause of what's making it do that and either resolving that or fixing it. Scroll back down again. Yes, please do. Definitely, definitely appreciate any issues on that repo. So that's the IDB-RS, and it's a standalone Rust library that's also implemented as the plugin that loads it as debug info. Cool. All right. Let me go back to what else we got on our list. MSP 430. Yep. So this is a brand new architecture. It's supported. It's on dev. It's already in Binary Ninja. This was actually Joe was on here, wasn't he? Wasn't this your this was, I think, one of your plugins, if I'm not misremembering. Maybe I'm misremembering. No, this is what you did. Yeah, so this was originally a third party. Joe did this, and it's been migrated. We pulled it in first class, and we're maintaining it. So thanks to Joe. Yeah, so thank you for that. We really appreciate it. And for everybody else, now it's integrated. You don't have to build it yourself or maintain it, and you can grab latest dev. It should just be on there. You can open up any of these. These are actually sample TI files, I think they said. And so they're not super complicated here. Here's one. But you can just see that we're not only parsing an ELF, we're pulling out debug symbols. We're also pulling out there's some mapping information. Wide. Yeah, there we go. New layout just to make the sidebar wider. So there's some timer regions in memory. By the way, this made me really appreciate it. I was looking here. One of my favorite things about Binja that I've mentioned maybe a couple of times is you can actually select a range of bytes and cross-references to anything in that region, for example, will automatically show up in the cross-reference window. So this is useful if you have a region of MYO or any kind of region of memory, and you can actually select a big range of bytes. You'll get cross-references to all of that. Related, I think this got added relatively recently too. The selection, this whole selection extension. So if you want to say, oh no, I want to add, or I want to go to a certain region or go to the end of the binary from here and automatically change your selection, that's useful to combine with the fact that you get those cross-references. Oh, micro-corruption, good call. Yep, that is the best way to test this. Oh, actually, ironically, we push jump instead of a call. We actually have a plugin that does the opposite of that. I believe it actually takes a push jump and turns it back into a call as one of our, let me see here. If I'm not misremembering, one of our architecture hook examples. The Python one, examples, architecture hook. Oh, no, okay, that's not the way it's implemented here, but you can use that. It's actually in, let me see, it's examples, x86 extension. One of these CPU extensions actually modifies, it was a different one that modified some lifting. So basically told it to treat, in this case, it was a compiler that was emitting a push jump instead of a call, and we emit it as a call instead, sort of the opposite of what it sounds like you're doing. But yeah, oh, okay. All right, I'm gonna change up the order a little bit because I like to bounce around. So speaking of that, let's talk about workflows, right? So workflows you may be familiar with are the ability, we actually use workflows heavily when you open an Objective-C file. We used to have to, when you open the file, you'd have to open with options, and then you would scroll down to the, it's already open, so let's look it up again. All right, you would scroll down, you'd enable a workflow, specifically turn it on, and you don't have to do it anymore. We've removed the need for that. But workflows are what internally allow us to kind of modify a whole bunch about the IL. modify a whole bunch about the decompilation process itself. And we've kind of been hyping it up for a while, and they're sort of a limited use. They're of limited use externally for now. We've been using them heavily. A lot of plugins are starting to take advantage of them, but they were not as flexible and useful as we wanted. They were just kind of a little bit more awkward, even though they were super powerful. And so we are seeing some people start to use them. One thing that Robert, that I want to point out is there's some changes to workflows where now you have basically, you can have workflows that are function level. So you can have a workflow that you apply like on demand. So if you have, say, a workflow that does some sort of like loop unrolling or loop rolling or any kind of IL rewriting or something, and you don't necessarily want it to do it on the entire binary, but you want to like spot do it, you can now, I don't think I have an exact test binary that would do this, but you can basically change, I think Alex is working on the UI for it, so it doesn't show up in the UI currently, but the idea is that there are separate, let me see, current function dot, is it workflow? Yeah, so you can actually set and change the workflow for a single function, like on demand. So that's a relatively new feature in workflows. I'm still a little bit rusty with it. Like there's some docs that are coming forth that'll make it easier for me to understand and also for everybody else. But the idea is that you can leverage this. I think there's already even an example where somebody had a, oh, is it there? Thank you, Mason. Function analysis. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Thank you. Beautiful. That's right. I forgot that. I've had way too many things I've been trying to cram to remember. You are totally allowed to derail the stream, Robert. Yeah. So yeah, you can like these are all function analysis based workflows, and you can toggle on and off some settings that are per function. And then you can also implement your own workflow that's like off by default, but then you could come in here and be like, oh, this function, I want to turn that on, right? I want to add that. Yeah, I think actually that's what I think Alex was doing, is he was taking the items from here, and the idea was making them a part of this GUI with like another tab or some sort of other UI element here, because it probably, it might be nice to have them there. But yeah, Brian's done a bunch of improvements to workflows. There's still a lot more like things that we still want to do with it, but they're really starting to be useful. So, all right, let me make sure to catch up. I didn't miss anything else. Cool. All right, I think I got it. So yeah, thank you, Mason, for the reminder there. That's where you can see them all now. You can enable or disable them, and so it's already you can access the API. There's already fun ways to play with those. So okay, so we did one a little bit early. We got to our workflow example. Let's see. Oh, no, project browser over here. Okay, MSP 430. Actually, I wonder if any of the microcorruption binary is available. I wonder if somebody has any of those. Here's the solutions, but do they have binaries? Nope, just a README. I'll try just briefly. Oh, here we go. Okay, this looks like, nope. Oh, has nobody extracted the binaries? I know that in like later levels you almost had to. I only made it past the first few, I think, before I got distracted, which is probably not too surprising to people that know me. But yeah, it doesn't look like most of these are. Spoilers, apologies if people were, that's right, read fast or don't read at all if you don't want to get spoiled about the solutions for it. Microcorruption is a fantastic fantastic set of challenges. Does anybody have just like a dumped binary to work on? I don't see any now, but yep, you can do it. You can copy and paste them. You can put them into Binja. In fact, you can copy and then paste from, actually that syntax may or may not match that. It's the only downside. Oh, but yeah, you can pull the bytes out and just match those. Anyway, we'll not worry about that. Oh, is there a download button on the microcorruption website itself? Oh, there we go. The memory dump. Yeah, sure. There we go. So memory.bin, let's just open up in Binja. And we probably should like learn something about like the memory layout and know that according, it looks like it's just loading it like flat memory straight in 30. Yeah, so it's just loading it right at 0. We're just gonna set MSP 430 as our platform, and yeah, load at 0, entry point at 0. Yep, do it. And there's not a whole lot there. Oh, there are at least symbols. So there's symbols in this one that might be nice to kind of dump out. But let me do clear BSS. Okay, so yeah, you got that. Oh, yeah, there we go. That's nice. All right, so yeah, there we go. You see these string references. And actually, I think if yeah. This is just a print function, probably. Is that a print like? All right. So anyway, you can see you could manually reverse engineer this. Oh, are we checking the value? Okay. Sorry. Before I spoil it too much and keep doing it. Yeah. There you go. That's fun. So it definitely makes life a lot easier to do MSP 430 based work. So yeah, hopefully we'll keep up that trend of adding new architectures in every release. So far, so good. We've been relying on a lot of community members and other people that have made great progress and kind of adopting things and pulling them in, which has worked well. Let's see. There we go. All right. So there's our MSP 430. Oh yeah, DSC. So I don't know. Does anybody actually care about? We could probably just skip this one, right? Like nobody does iOS stuff, right? So if you're not already familiar, this has probably definitely been one of our most requested features is the dynamic shared cache support in iOS. And so if you work on actually macOS now too, so both macOS and iOS. No, I'm just kidding. Don't leave, Cat. So this is super huge. So this is we're calling this like the DSC preview. There's still like a lot of work to be done on it. We've already been giving some people test releases of it, but for people that do that do share cache work, I'm told this is normal. This is what it looks like, right? So here is like an extracted shared cache. I'll give you my explanation of it. Or sorry, not dynamic, Dyld. Well, so it is kind of dynamic because Dyld stands for dynamic loader shared cache. So, but yes, Dyld shared cache. No, Joe, good question. And so for a while we were talking about implementing Dyld along with general container support. We are still continuing general container support, and there probably will be a version. It's a recursive algorithm or recursive acronym. So Joe, yeah, this is containers are still being actively worked, but that's going to be a feature that takes more than one stable to complete. But it is actually in progress still. So we're continuing pace there. The idea really is it's actually really memory map. So the fact that we've changed, for those of you that are familiar with the memory map, the way that we were able to if Brian's on, we got to get that arch detection for MSP 430, so automatically detects it. The way that the memory map now works is you can actually load files at offsets. You can add a segmented bucket-Y of Python. The memory layout is way more flexible, and this has been something that we were starting to take advantage of. Like, so it's one of those kind of prerequisite, the blockers that we knew was going to be we'd need to resolve before we'd be able to do Dyld share cache as well as some of the other features like containers. And so we're all starting to kind of build on top of it now. And this is you can start to see that kind of pay off. So basically the idea is that if I open up this file, so yeah, let me set the stage again. So if you're not familiar with this, the way that the share cache is, instead of having like different libraries loaded at different offsets, Apple in their infinite wisdom was like, let's just load all of them in one big blob and just shove it all into a single thing and just like load it up into memory. Oh, I stand corrected. There we go. See, this is why we keep the rest of the team on the chat to correct me that I'm wrong. So it's not currently using the memory mapping. It is separately loading each of the sort of slices. So again, you can think of the shared caches. In fact, I learned, well, let's look at it. You can see this. If I double click that, that's not useful. Yeah, I know. So You can see there's a specific parser, a specific binary view for it that is the DSC view, and it's got a DSC triage. So this is much like the triage overview. In fact, there's even this nice GUI representation up top here, where you can see the different sort of chunks of the DSC, and each one of these chunks actually is mapping some like file offset and bytes into some virtual memory. But the annoying part is, like, look at this. These sections, like here's a bunch of text sections from dylibs, and then the same, like the BSS for the same dylibs might be somewhere else. Like, I don't know, like just keep clicking around until you find where the other things are. Like they're not, it's not like here's the GOTS for like other things. So it's not just like you have a single dylib just shoved next to another single dylib. They're all sliced and diced and kind of re-put back together into this giant blob. And then that's loaded into memory in your OS, and that is what is sort of the new model for shared code on iOS and macOS. It's my understanding. So I'm glad Kat's here to help explain things when I get it wrong. But that's the sort of high level summary. So we can see there are in fact I think 2710 total frameworks or libraries, right? And each one of these may have multiple sections that need to get mapped in at the appropriate offset to analyze it. So like you notice, I've already got some functions and symbols here. And so we do have all the same Mako symbol information and stuff that you would have normally. And so if we look over at the memory map, actually here, let's go to our wide view. Let's see if this works. Yeah. That's why I saved that one in advance. We can see we've already loaded these sections. And so this is really nice because we've got the original like dylib and the section name in the name. It's all been concatenated into the new section name. So we can see that there's these stubs, and we've got libsystem. So by default, we're just going to load up libsystem, and it includes both the memory mappings as well as the sections inside of those. Right. So now let's go grab something else. Let's go grab a different one. So I'm gonna grab something like the hearing UI, or no, sidecars UI. That's kind of fun. So I just double click it, and you'll notice it's just added these new memory mappings, and it's triggering reanalysis, and it's adding all of the the new bits of memory. Type libraries for the entire cache? No, because I don't think they're available. Like Apple, I don't believe releases full type libraries for everything. It would be Dwarf, I guess, right, for Mako. Oh, and then you'll notice here, this just got really big, and all the code went away. So this is because there is a big blob of every string that's referenced here. Okay, so there we go. If we have them, they're public that we do, but I think there's some that are not. So like if I actually now like switch over just to our linear view, or here, I'll go to our linear view. No, that's right. Linear view, where we can see the memory mappings, we see all the sections. Here, this is just all strings. So this is literally like every string in the shared cache, which really worried me when like so I want to point out, this is a Mac Mini. It's an M2 with 8 gigs of RAM. It's like the cheapest Mac Mini we could buy a couple years ago, or maybe a year or two. Yeah, about 2 years ago, I think. And so I was like, well, this is a pretty good low. It's not super low end because it is still Apple Silicon, still pretty fast. But this is like very usable. You notice analysis is still going on. It's still triggering whatever analysis happened as a result of loading that library, and I can load multiple. But I can see all of the strings here. I can even switch into strings view and filter through like every string that's been detected in this whole thing. So all the strings are loaded, but you really don't want to load all the code until you need it. And so that's where like that view that lets you choose the libraries to load kind of comes into play. Let me pull up something. Actually, let's just look at some of these loaded ones though. So sidecar, I loaded, for example. Let's see. Let's go find the text section in sidecar maybe. Where is sidecars? Text. There we go. Okay, so let's look at the actual code in sidecar. And here we can see we've got some message send calls, and let's find something that maybe isn't yet loaded yet, because the really importance of this and the valuable part is where you want to be able to say like, oh, that's calling into some other library. I don't yet have that library loaded, but I'd like to. So let's see, is this loaded? Yeah, so here's a great example. So here's this dispatch async, right? And this is a J under, which just means we've identified as like a sort of stub. whereas calling it into like libsystem maybe or something else. I assume just because libsystem's really the only other library besides sidecar that's loaded. And there's this other pointer into something like we don't have that in a memory. It can't go anywhere. But when I right click on it, you'll notice up here I have the ability to like load, and oh, it tells me, oh, it's libdispatch. So libdispatch is going to get loaded. Oh, that's where this dispatch comes in. It's a jump that hasn't yet been resolved. So it's going to go to libdispatch. And so I can load that image by the name. So load libdispatch. I can load by address. I can also just specify an address. There's a piece of memory that I want to kind of load. Or I can specifically load that section. So if I load that section, we should see libdispatch. Yep, it got loaded. All of its stuff, it's going to appear there. We're going to trigger analysis for all of that. And then when the analysis is done, I'm actually going to get, this might actually be a decent sized one. Let's see. This call will now resolve, and suddenly that pointer is pointing to something that's been loaded into memory. So this is, if you don't do iOS reverse engineering, maybe this is not super important, but this has been like a huge blocker for a lot of people that use or they want to use Binary Ninja to do reverse engineering for iOS. Now I will say, if you're just reverse engineering like an application, you're doing a bunch of like malware analysis or analyzing apps to see if they've got jailbreak things in them or any kind of like use like that, you probably wouldn't have been blocking you because you wouldn't necessarily have needed to do analysis of the shared cache itself. You just need to see well, actually you still can in some ways if you want to see where things resolve to. Like here we go, we just now resolved this dispatch main queue. We've got this symbol at this offset because we've got it loaded up. So yeah, now you can see that we do have symbols because we loaded that piece of memory and we've done the full binge analysis on it. So everything gets better. So this lets you really kind of like on demand load things up, put things in. Still in testing. There's still definitely some features. Like I said, it'll probably be out as a preview a feature. We're just going to call it that just because it still feels very new. We really want to make sure that we've like the UI, is this like the final UI, or is this is there performance improvements or crashes, the things that we need to kind of look into. So it still needs definitely some more work on it, but it's really exciting for those folks. Yeah, exactly. Oh, right now during the stream, the UI is actively being worked. There we go. So yeah, in fact, if you have feedback, I'm not kidding, like really, if you have other suggestions for ways we could visualize this, this here lets you just see, like, this is kind of useful to see them overall, but really most of it is you can pull up a specific library here, or you can just go analyze whatever you want to look at, or you can use the where was it, load no, yeah, load section by address, right? So actually, does it show up under a plugin or not? I wonder where that's, yeah. So loading a section by address or by name, load image from name, or section by address, you can specify those just to trigger whatever the thing you want to start your analysis with, and then go from there. So definitely let us know if you've got feedback on the UI or want to take a stab at it. So all right, that's our preview, and let me know, Kat, if I forgot anything. I'm trying to maybe I can see if I left myself notes. Some of these I left notes in the project itself. I think this one I did not put notes in here though for, so okay. Oh, Mixie, that's a great question. So if I'm doing some reverse engineering here and like, yeah, I'm off in linear view and I like click here, this is like the virtual address, but instead you want the file offset. If you do down here, there's this little like kind of status bar. It's also where errors have been accumulating as I have been doing stuff over here to see the platform. You can change this display format to show you section offset, file offset, function offset. You can also copy all those. So if you want file offset, there you go. You just click down there and one click, and now I've got in my copy paste buffer the byte here as a file offset instead of a virtual address. Oh, it's not, Robert. That's under my more good. Thank you for keep me honest. I appreciate that. But that one is down. It's under the hidden all the small things. It's not like a big splashy feature necessarily, but yep, if you know, you know. So good call. That one's coming. Yeah. Any other questions? Definitely let me know. Keep binding jars. Start your own club. Yeah, exactly. I could see that's a good point. That's a good point, Kat. In particular, this file might be a weird Yeah, in fact, that almost certainly would not work because it's actually being loaded from like all these other files, or kind of creating a big virtual file and then accessing within them. So that's probably a really bad example. But just in general, any other file, if I open up this file and I go to this offset here and say, what is the file offset? That's a good example. Actually, in this case, the file offset is the beginning of it. Is that likely? Yeah. Yeah, it is. The file's just loaded 0 by default, so that one's actually quite possibly correct. But you can see all those there. Yep. Oh, okay. Yeah, all right. Let's go back. Let me see here. So, jump to a lib Objective-C symbol. All right, so let's go look at symbols. Lib object. One of these? One of these symbols? No, that's not. Hold on. Oh, there we go. So yeah, Objective-C retain X8. Okay, so here is this. And do we want to look at cross references too? So yeah, so I should, this is, so there is this Objective-C retain 8. Yeah, has this magic apple calling convention here, which can really throw off your analysis if you're not aware that like they have these like different calling conventions. I don't know the details of them. Okay, go back. Wait, did I go too far? All right, I'll go slow. Oh, wait a second, because stream delay is on like 5-10 seconds now. So yeah or no, Swift is on the radar. I don't have a specific release or deadline. I'll touch on that in a second when I talk more about other language support, but not currently. All right, so Kat, let me know if was this, so is like this what we wanted to be looking at, the calling convention stuff, or was there a different thing you wanted to? And then if I look at the cross references to this, let's see. I don't know if that was, I don't think that was the right one. I feel like I'm doing it wrong. And I apologize. You did show me this. Okay, I got that. Yeah, exactly. Right. So I want to show that basically these calling conventions get detected. Get detected here. And then I probably can find these all the same. Yeah. Actually here. Let's do that thing I was gonna do earlier. Wonder if this is, let me just split. Yeah, I don't see it calling the other ones. I don't know if they're, I'm not sure if they're, I think I'm not finding the cross references I expect, but again, to be clear, I'm not the iOS person. Okay. Where'd it go? I lost my spot. All right. I think hopefully the iOS people follow that, but I'm not one of them. So there we go. Yeah, it's a work in progress, but it's come a long way, and I've just been impressed as I've been kind of playing with it this week. Really, just how usable it is, and the fact that, like I said, on this not powerful machine, that I can be easily working with a fairly large. I can even open some pretty big frameworks, and really straightforward. Just take kind of atom trigger analysis, and then still, while analysis is going, go off and do some other stuff, right? Like I know we've had some issues in the past where it could be really kind of sluggish and have some performance problems, but really working super nice, just to kind of keep the keep analysis going. So even as I navigate around, like these large functions need to be decompiled, will get updated. Let me see here. Yeah, sometimes depending on the function, it can take a little bit, but the UI itself is not blocked, which is super nice. It can make life a lot easier as we navigate around. So cool. All right, so that is the DSC, the Dyld shared cache, not the dynamic shared cache, or dynamic library shared cache, or Dyld is dynamic loader. or library? I think it's dynamic loader. Let me see. Dynamic link editor. Oh no, totally wrong. All right, what is dynamic? So at least I was right there. Dynamic link editor. Today I learned. It makes sense though. It's about dynamic linking. It's what libraries are. Okay, so let's go back to our to-do list and see what else we have in store. So that I know has been several people are been hanging around for a while for. Next up, high-level language plugins. I would love to see guesses what this is for. High-level language plugins. Does anyone have any ideas of what the high-level language plugins are? Well, I load it up. High-level language plugins. I know, right? It's not always obvious. No, that's not the right one. Did I load the wrong one? It just said OMT. But this is not the OMT version. I'm pretty sure this is the right version. That was weird. It asked me, huh. That was like a UI bug because it asked me the macOS permission thing asked for this build, but that's not the version I ran. I'm pretty sure this is the right one. Formatting additional high-level IO targets. ChatGPT compiler. All right. So let's pull up a couple files here. Yeah, it is all of those things. It is, oh, Chris, you've been cheating. You've been watching Git, I think. Yeah, we can compile. No, Robert, you're not. That's not sarcasm. That's it. That is it. And Chris knows the exact languages. You just write snippets. Are plugins C++ only? Python support? Which plugins? These high-level language plugins? Well, let's take a look at it. So first, let's open this this database. And so yeah, we've got this function. It's got these are like clearly it's like a test thing, right? So we've got a forward break, forward loop, just some basic test functionality, little switch statement. But I got some new choices here. We've got some new choices, right? You are not wrong, Robert. Sudo rust. So there you go. So for all the rustations, we can actually output the decompilation. So this is taking high-level IL and it's rendering it as Rust. This really implements an entire, sort of like pseudo language subsystem. So pseudo C was kind of a one-off, and Rusty went back and really made a platform which. All right, this is good. Okay, I was hoping we'd get some reactions like this. Yeah, it's in some ways it looks like a party trick, but this is really no, Arno, good question. It's a separate issue from non-null terminated strings, which for example like Golang or other languages are. Joe, it is okay. I'm gonna have to keep up on chat now, making your nightmares come true. So this is really the beginning of a lot of cool stuff that this is going to come. So first, this is just neat, right? I think right off the bat. Let me just show off a couple of basic features, and then I'll talk more, but kind of about the future. So like if I go to my Binja plugin folder, and I see open applications. Which one is this? Binary Ninja high level. Contents, resources. Okay, yeah. So, and this is Chris knew this because he's been watching the GitHub, I assume, because you can actually see a lot of the stuff happening on our test branches live. Even if you can't run the full build, you can see all the API commits. And so, under Python, Binary Ninja examples. Or no, where is it? Where is it? Is it under examples? Python. There we go. Sudo Python. All right, so let me actually open this up with Visual Studio Code. And we can take a look at the APIs, kind of see what's happening. Yeah, thank you, is good. All right, so let's also then symlink that into our plugin folder. All right, so now if we actually reopen, and let's take a look over here. So this is basically, again, it's making a pseudo language as like an abstraction, so you can add different other language outputs. And so Python is emitted in Python. The Rust plugin is written in C++. The reason being that just the Rust API is being worked on right now, and Rusty didn't want to like deal with a merge conflict, so he wrote it in C++. But there will be bindings for all of the APIs like normal. So okay, now let me get caught up here. Sorry, my wife is calling me. Message her, let her know I'm streaming still. So yeah, let's talk about first like what it's doing here, right? We've got this the ability that you can now produce the output, the tokenization, the rendering of the output language. There are still some rough edges. There's still things it doesn't do. There's a reason this one's not on dev, and even after it lands on dev, I think it'll be a feature. But it's there's just going to be a long tail, a lot of stuff that we'll be implementing on top of this and using. But the idea is that you can basically rewrite what the output looks like. You can teach the renderer essentially how to do these high-level IL tokens and what they should look like. So you can tell it, what the syntax of that language is. So I can look, in, oh, there we go, pseudo Python. So let's go back to some of these functions and see what they look like in Python. But you'll notice there are things that you can't do in Python that we can decompile to. And so that it will not be perfect Python. You will get output sometimes that, let's go find one, is not a valid. This one's actually match case looks good. There we go. That's not Python syntax. And this one actually, this is a good example. Rusty was just even saying that this one could be made Python output, but because the scope, it's a scoping issue, right? So on Rust, this is we actually need to have this because you don't have the scope from your counter can't be returned here. So when it's returning that counter, you can't you need it outside of the scope, and so you can't kind of simplify it, which if you were to do a normal for loop in Rust, you wouldn't or sorry, in Python you wouldn't have. But ironically, if I actually hit Y here, a couple things you're gonna notice. Actually wait, oh, that actually looks like a bug right there. Now there we go. I had to select the token. Oh yeah, it is. It's like the function. Wow, I still think that's a bug. I think I did the wrong thing there, but that's still probably shouldn't up to that. The return value here, right, is in 32. But if I actually make that a void, wait, did I make it a void? No, I did this wrong. Yeah, if I just make it a void entirely, it'll actually optimize it away. So if I tell it there's no return, then the analysis can clean that up, and so now it actually renders it as real Python. All right, let me caught up a little bit. A couple of questions. Thanks for chipping in everybody else that did it. Let me see if I've missed a few things. So yeah, Mike, let me know when you say you write snippets or plugins C++, you mean these particular language plugins, or you mean just in general? I assume you mean these, but all right. Yeah, and then again, Arno, I mentioned briefly, this does not solve arbitrary string representations. We still need to add support for that. And that's a good kind of use case. Exactly. It's room for improvements, but also it illustrates the way I've been thinking about it is there's basically three things you need, right? When, do I not have my license on this box? Am I Sublime? We'll do that later. I should pull that as VM. There's basically three things, right? There's the metadata, / like file format parsing. And there's, for example, like there's a bunch of Golang plugins, in Binary Ninja that do that, right? They will pull out symbols. There's a bunch of debug information. They'll pull out the metadata and they'll add that kind of rich information. The second step is like during decompilation, there's things you want to do for specific languages, right? There's language-specific features. There are things that are going to happen differently. A great example is right now, like on Objective-C, when our current Objective-C workflow rewrites the IL, so when you have a call to message send, it will rewrite it so it's like an actual like call to that particular method instead of through that dispatch function. All right, and so there's a bunch of things you do for like language-specific decompilation that you want to do during lifting, during decompilation, and then the third one is like the output. Right, and the idea is that we still need sort of like core support during this step. during like the intermediate step for things like non-null terminated strings, or a good example also is the like I think it's the stack or no, the multiple return or stack return. I forget what it is. There's something that Golang does that I know related to the return calling convention. With Go, it's still currently like not supported in just our core kind of analysis. So we still need that for like these sort of steps. But this is basically what Rusty's done here is really fixing this output step, like the last layer of this. So, you know, we already have a really solid Objective-C plugin. And so, you know, once the cat's not working on DSC support so busily, give her a chance to go back to work on Objective-C. You know, we expect to be able to take like the Objective-C output and actually render it as Objective-C. And that requires this piece, which is this sort of like the output layer. So we already have a lot of metadata, the modification of the decompilation, but next we can go do that. So that's one great example where it's going to come into play. Somebody else asked a question of like, what are the use cases are there? If you actually look at our blog, we had a blog post about Sidekick where one of the things we asked it to do was deobfuscate a string. There was a string decryption function, and we asked it to rewrite that function in Python. Like maybe you don't need Sidekick to do that at all. Like maybe the C decompiles cleanly to a Python function that you can emulate. You can shove it into a plugin, and you can run it across, you know, all the string obfuscations in that binary as an example. So there's a lot of things where being able to like just to go straight to that language is super useful. Oh, you will notice, by the way, when I change the type on this, well, actually, here's a better example. Let's go to sudo rust. So like Rust has I32. If I hit Y on it, it still has C style types here. So we don't have it fully representing the entire type system in this kind of abstract way. And part of this because there are things that are not representable. You might write something in Rust that the decompiler and the generic type system can't render because there's sort of like, you know, extra information, or, you know, it may not be a one-to-one. So there are still going to be occasionally discrepancies and things that we'll need to do, you know, some work on kind of going forward. But you can already kind of see how it's improving things, even like the syntax here for the match. Yeah, so let me continue to get caught up now. So I don't think Dalvik could use this for Dalvik. I mean, the problem with Dalvik is really the metadata at the beginning of the function, I think, is my understanding, and the way that the decompilation happens there. Yeah, so Mike, you would have to do this as a plugin, but again, it does support Python. Yeah, Robert, if you've got like custom lifting or custom architecture, you can combine that with this language stuff and really control a lot of the outputs. So yeah, and thanks, Arno. I think yeah, we realized that as well. So the question earlier, somebody asked about, I don't know if it was you or somebody else asked about Swift. This is the kind of feature we needed before we would do like really good Swift decompilation, we thought. And so this is the foundation upon which we're going to build a lot of other future features. So expect to see a lot of that kind of going forward. So yeah, that's one that I think most people didn't expect. Most people didn't know, except for Chris. He's watching GitHub. But it's pretty exciting. So that's a really cool one. I think it makes for a flashy demo, but it's also really an important kind of nod towards where we're going and being able to support and really have high quality decompilation for a variety of these different languages. So that's pretty. Let me make sure that didn't auto update itself. Okay, good. It's got it available. Didn't do that. Let me actually, yeah. So let's go talk a little more about some of the specifics. There's a couple of things here. For example, yeah, this also. Oh yeah, major point here too is that if I open up just like one of the, let me grab one of the stable builds, and let's grab where's 4. Oh, I really wanted a 4.1. I meant to have that. Actually, this one might be a 4.1. Let's see what version this is. And I want to show you the before and after. So if you use sudo C a lot, which, so like the Vector 35 team, we don't use it as much. We always encourage people to use high-level IL. You probably heard me talk about it a lot on stream about why we encourage that and why we want people to do it. But a ton of people really do use, there we go, this is a 4.1. This is a 4.1 build, so that's perfect. A lot of people really do make use of that. And so let's see if I can, let's see, export selected, download it from the server. Let's go put it in language plugins. Oh, I already have it there. Okay, perfect. Desktop, Frogstar, language plugins, once and for all. Let's see if this loads in this dev build. It does. Perfect. Okay, so let's take a look at this particular function, and we're going to load it in. Let's see, is this once and for all? No, let's load it up. Okay, so this is dev on the left, and let's hide the feature map. And let's Command B, and we'll hide the sidebar. And so we'll just take a look at the save big function. Yeah. So here's one we can look side by side, and we can see. Let's go to the sudo C for both of these, right? And let's see what, by the way, his errors are probably that plugin failing to load because I didn't have it. So this is a good example of just there's a lot of little stuff that was kind of broken or wrong before. Like we did these annotations before in sudo C. That's not a valid C syntax, right? Like that's just straight up incorrect. So those are actually done now as comments correctly. Let's also these comparisons. So just count the number of braces here. This cast of like 16. And then why do we have, oh, is it matching, where is it matching the braces from? Two. Oh, yes, these optional, yeah, you didn't, these parentheses weren't needed. There was a lot of little like rough edges on sudo C basically that just got cleaned up. There's less casting going on. There's proper formatting and syntax. There's, I mean, the first version of sudo C was super useful, super valuable, and I'm really glad that we've had it and made a lot of people's, experience a lot better. But this is really the kind of experience we wanted to eventually get to. And so, it's much like you'll find a lot of little stuff just got cleaned up. There's another one in here too I remember seeing. It was different. So the comments, there's that. Let me see what else. You'll probably find some others if we just scroll around and look for things that have changed. There's a couple of things. Yeah, no returns are like the comment here on the no return is properly like annotated. A lot of little stuff like that. That got improved. I think some of the, oh, I know another one. Yeah, there we go. That's a good example. This is a really nice one. A lot of people really were wanting like IDA style like C if verified, right? Not if verified not equal to 0. And so much cleaner output for like comparisons there. So a lot of little stuff like that, and just a better framework that we can improve things on going forward. And again, you'll see like less nesting of these parentheses, which just makes it a little bit more readable when you have less extra parentheses. So yeah, so sudo C itself really has improved a lot, regardless of whether you're interested in Rust or Python output or Swift or Objective-C, these other languages that we're going to improve. If you just use sudo C, that itself is going to be better as a result. So pretty good stuff there. So you can see why we're like, oh yeah, this is a great release. We got pretty excited. Is there anything else I wanted to check out from that? Let me look. Oh, all right, APIs. So let me copy a couple of these. Let's close this down and let's make this back up. Can you make big and big and all right, perfect. So we actually have current function.sudo C is a just first class language representation. So kind of do like I don't know if that's the way to do it. I should probably just look at the now, not stir, but probably iterate over it. Let's actually look at Rusty's code. Nope, that was not what I meant to do. So Rusty had a couple of examples here. I was going to totally cheat and steal. So the sudo C is an object that we can represent. Oh, the get linear lines. That's right. So, and what parameters does that take? Yeah, so you give it the root node of the AST. And then what's the extra parameter? Let's see. I'm curious. You give it the instruction. Oh, and then settings. So you can just give it none if you want. And then you can get it as an AST. That's interesting. Okay. So, and we could just do like, can I do that? Oh, it's going to give those. We'd have to do it slightly differently, but we should, yeah, you can pull it back out. So that makes it really easy to iterate over sudo C, much simpler than it was before. And of course, you can do it for all of the other languages too. So you can get this language representation for the other languages. And of course, it's Binja. So the answer is, can I automate it? The answer is, of course, yes, you can automate absolutely everything. Team Pseudo C and Team HLAL. Ooh, that's a good idea. Yeah. When we have and now's a good time as any to mention if you're not familiar with it, we announced a conference, which I don't think I've talked about on stream. But we have a conference. Maybe once on stream. I don't remember when we actually announced it. It's been quite a while since I streamed. Um, so if you are not aware, check out reverse.io. Maybe we'll have Team Pseudo C, Team HLAL stickers for people. That's a great idea. We should put like one of each in everyone's swag bag and then just tell everyone to put like one on their name badge. Although I will say this is not a Binary Ninja conference, right? This is just to be clear, this is really going to be a generic reverse engineering, not generic, but it's a reverse engineering conference with ton of great sponsors. Americanized a lot of good folks, really high quality trainings. The review board is fantastic. We've already got several dozen submissions, so hopefully we'll start announcing those in the next month or so. Getting like the specific talks, some keynotes and stuff like that. It's going to be in Orlando in February. You can see this is the Caribe Royale hotel center in Orlando, Florida. So yeah, if you were not already planning on attending, you should attend, and then we'll make pins or stickers or something for Team HLAL and Team Pseudo C. That's just what came to mind when thinking about like getting everybody in the same room. It'd be fun to see people there. So I'm sure we'll talk more about that in future streams too. So all right, close this stuff. Language representation. Yeah, I think I kind of hit the high points of it. It's got a full API. It supports examples in Python and Rust. We'll probably be expanding out. It's the first year. This has actually been the very first year. We've never run it before. So there are no previous year's talks. I don't think we've fully decided yet on exactly the talk schedule or posting of the talks. I think we probably will post the talks online, but I don't quote me on that. That could change. We'll see. This is really meant to. I expect we will default to posting, but if speakers want to accept themselves, they can. That's my guess. For people who've ever been to Infiltrate, like that's really the kind of vibe that we're going for. Oh wait, let me see. I got a note that might be related to the stream, so I'm gonna check it out here. Oh, I see what was happening. Sorry, I'm catching up on my my internal notes. Did the people change it on stream? Did I rename that, or was that renamed under me? That's funny because that was the team apparently changed it. That's great. Well done. I didn't even notice that, but I think it worked. Let me check another note here real quick. Okay. All right, cool. So, yes, exactly that. So anybody who's been to Infiltrate, it was a really like well done, well run conference. They made speakers do dry runs of the talk, so you got like the best version of a presentation. We've yeah, we're pretty busy. Lot of stuff going on, Robert. So yeah, we want to like have just a really like everybody in the same room kind of thing. Like the vibe at Infiltrate was fantastic because good morning. I'm gonna not pronounce your name because I'll get it wrong. But welcome. So if you've ever even just heard about Infiltrate, it was just a really cool vibe. There was a lot of people that were like a lot of smart people kind of in the room that you could get directly into contact with, and you would stay around. Like everybody didn't just go take off to like different events or parties, but you would all kind of like be there at the event. So no plans to buy Florida. That's a bit outside of our budget. I think we got a ways to go there. Cool. So let's go. Let's keep going. I got a lot of these. Ultimate, little minor thing. We launched a new version of Binary Ninja. In case you missed that, the short summary is we essentially renamed the enterprise client Ultimate and then dropped a whole bunch of new features in it. So actually, the best probably way to compare is to kind of see it here, where we broke one rule, which I think. Oh, thank you for subscribing. Um, we 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 had originally, it was one of the selling points of Binary Ninja is that all of our architectures were available in all the versions, which is really nice, and we kept that up for as long as we could. But we started to get like architectures that just didn't make sense because they were very kind of niche, and the only reason we would ever do it is if it was sort of available at a higher price point. And so the idea is that anything we think is like very niche and not generally interesting to the public goes into the ultimate version, and we'll continue to add new ones. Again, we've added like all of these architectures in the same time frame that we added these just in ultimate. So we're continuing to add more, architectures into the base one. We have like a huge list of, I think is that already more than in the base one? It's already more than IDA's latest changes that they've done. Hexrace has changed all their stuff, and we continue to plan to add to both, right? So that is the goal. But Ultimate is now out, and it is basically the client that can connect to Enterprise. So one note that I didn't make before, but VxWorks is only supported in Ultimate. So I'm using the Ultimate version here. I apologize if I get your hopes up, if that was something you were really excited about. But again, that's one of the features that we're putting into Enterprise only. However, we have a pretty good track record of like moving features down into other versions. So if something is really important to you, like for example, analysis caching or multi-threading used to be commercial only features that got moved down into the other versions. So, I expect as we continue to add more higher level features into Ultimate, they will eventually be pulling some things down. That's a good question, Joe. I don't think so. The problem with monthly pricing is that we basically are kind of under the assumption that like once we give somebody a thing, they've got the thing. Unless it's like actually like service-based, like Sidekick, right? Where Sidekick is actually like server infrastructure models that we will price monthly. But anything that you download and get and just run on your computer, I don't know that we have plans to make subscription out of. Certainly not monthly subscription anytime soon. Never rule it out. You never know what's going to happen, but that's just not kind of how we usually price things. Sorry, when I look at chat, I'm looking over here, but I'm really talking to y'all. Yeah, I don't think we'll do that. But if there was something that was like service based, that would make sense. But yeah, so we launched Ultimate. We included VxWorks new architectures. I believe the current plan for Firmware Ninja, which I've also shown off on stream before, is also planned into Ultimate. So a couple of the features, although it is actually worth pointing out, the unblob is actually here. Yeah, blob extractor. So part of Firmware Ninja already got released as a plugin, one of our official plugins that you can install from the plugin manager. And I think it only supports Linux and Mac, unfortunately, right now, just due to LibMagic not being supported and unblob itself not being supported. Oh, I'm being asked if I can pick up my son, so I'm glad he has a phone now. Okay. All right, so the blob extractor component of Firmware Ninja is available. Some of the other features are going to be built into a plugin that will go into Ultimate. So we'll probably talk more about that in the next stream or two, a little bit later. But yeah, Ultimate's a thing. That's one of the other big announcements sort of with this release. There is technically like a release of it when you purchase it. It's not technically as stable, but it will be getting its first official stable with 4.2. Yeah, I don't know about the timeline. That's a good question. If anybody else in the chat from Vector 35 knows more about that, I don't know. I've seen anybody on that might, but we can check about when those features are coming. And one of the other reasons that we sort of did Enterprise is it does let us put things that used to be, in Ultimate. We used to put things either in Ultimate or Commercial, and is a big price difference between the two. Because Enterprise only comes as a bundle with like the server and collaboration, a bunch of other features that don't always make sense for every customer. And so having Ultimate like priced in between, I think works really well for some features that are still kind of more niche or more enterprise type features, but you're a small team or you don't need it, or only one or two people need it. And so you don't have to move everybody to an Ultimate server and floating licenses and all that stuff. So I think that's working well. And it basically meant that we just decreased the price for enterprise named clients. That's kind of essentially kind of how it worked. So it was literally a price decrease, which is what we teased a little bit in our tweets about it. All right, Ultimate unions. So unions are not solved. I'll start with that. However, we're making progress, and this is kind of if you actually look at our GitHub, if you go look, our highest upvoted issues, because we do routinely look through like what are the things that people want. And containers, I just mentioned earlier, containers are on the way. They're currently slated for the next stable, but they have been under active development. Joe was asking about them earlier. This is super high priority. It's coming. Better union support has been an old issue. Both of these, are been around for quite some time, and it is in progress. And we have a video, so this will be a first for the stream. We'll see if this works here. But Ryan recorded the demo, and I'll probably have to rebalance the audio a little bit on the fly. So let's see. I've called it unions, but again, what this is really about is more things like ioctl handlers, where you've got like a different handlers for where you would have different types at different points in the binary, right? So like in the same function, you have different handlers, and so they would treat something as a different structure, even though it's not. So it's very similar to unions, and it's a prerequisite for getting better union support. And so that's this feature. And let's see if the video can come through here. Let's see if we can play this, and we'll get to hear Ryan on stream. So V5 unions resolved, yeah. Function as ends, fight me. Yeah, exactly. So this solves problems right now on its own, and is also one of the prerequisites before we get there. Thanks. Sweet. Snyder is here on stream to correct me if I get stuff wrong. All right, let me see if the audio is.
All right, so forced variable versions. We've got a toy program here.
All right, I've got to turn the volume up a little bit.
Commands.
Let me see if I can boost the audio a little bit. I think I can go above. All right. Oops, wrong keyboard. All right, let's try again.
All right, so forced variable versions. We've got a toy program here that implements several commands. We've got a header struct, and then an additional struct for each of the various commands that are supported. And then we're going to throw all of those structs into a union, and we're going to have a handler function that takes a pointer to that union, switches on the command to be executed, and then, depending on the command, accesses the appropriate flavor through the union and performs the command. So if we hop on over to Binja, first we're just going to bring in those types. And the pain point that this toy program demonstrates is that historically, because we can only provide variable type information at a def site, we are only going to be able to have one of these commands doing the right thing. So right now we've got loop happy, but the exit command does not look sensible. So if we go back over to that, it's simply incorrect, and there's no way for us to be doing the right thing for all of these handlers at once. So forced variable versions, what they let us do is tell the analysis to treat an arbitrary point in the function as having a def site for the variable that you supply. So if we go ahead and hop on over to medium level IL and graph view, it's going to be a lot easier to spot exactly where we want to be providing these manual new versions. So like if it's loop 11F8, that would be one of the places where we'd want one. For copy, 11DD, so on and so forth, just going through here. And here we can show like, now exit works, but all the others are broken. So went ahead and got this ready off screen. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to lay down some def sites for arg1 and RBP. Just because it's happening to use both down each of these paths. And so now we've got this force ver instruction showing up. And what that's doing is it's not part of the program, it's something that we put there. And so now what we can do So we can provide a narrower type. So now in the loop handler, we're able to see all of that correct markup, but we go back over here where exit was, and that is doing the right thing still. So here we can go ahead and fix up copy. Now that's looking better. We can, and then if we go ahead and drop out of graph view and go to high level IL, and now we can see that all of those handlers are showing sensible accesses through the narrower type, rather than being forced to use the same type for everything from function entry.
Go. All right, sweet. So thanks. Oh, I just realized that was I didn't scroll back on chat. I know. I think it's just close. Yeah. So again, this is a feature that's just on a test branch right now. It's very much in progress. This is why we've got the video recording of it instead of a live build for me to break. But hopefully that makes sense. Oh, I think that was scroll back on the chat. That's why it was looking like it was off. Yeah, the idea is, again, this is a sort of prerequisite. This is what's you can see how, one of the problems with the UA union is being able to like represent it in different ways at the same time. So this lets you kind of modify the decompilation and force these specific versions. And once you've got that, you can type them appropriately. So that's the beginning of being able to have better union handling here as a core feature. So coming, it's on progress, and I'm excited. Like I said, that takes us to where did it go? There we go. Our top kind of issues here. Better user support is going to be hitting. That's although I think this one says Frogstar, that's probably going to get moved. I don't think the feature itself will land, but rather this forced version feature will, that can get us a step closer. Containers, like I said, are going to be the next one. Wait a minute. This is our third most popular thing, but why is it marked Frogstar? Has anybody been working on this? So all right, since I got it up here, it's technically a little bit off the schedule of things, but that's all right. I like doing things off a little bit. Let's go show another test branch that I think people will also be excited about. So this is the one more thing. I was originally going to do this in the very, very last one, but I got too excited. Just one more thing. OMT, one more thing. There's actually several more things at this point. So, so let's open up. Yeah, that one will work fine. Look at what's that? Ah, look at there. So we have added folding. It's again still in development, so it's in testing, but this will hopefully be here soon. We're in particular, we're probably going to have these be like an icon or like a chevron or triangle, or instead of just the plus minus. But you do have folding. Notice that visual artifact of when it selects the thing can happen sometimes. So there's like a function select there that then expands the selection. So anyway, so little kind of stuff happening there. But yeah, we've got the beginnings of a folding, which has definitely been one of those little, yeah, see, there you go, IM0, little quality of life things that people have been really wanting for a while. Oh, I do see one visual artifact right there. There we go. That's, again, there's a reason that one's still in progress. This just kind of had some early test builds just last week. It's still happening. Actually, is there a better? Let's see if there's a bigger. This is actually a small test binary, so I should probably find something with a little bit more meat to it. Let's go to like NLS and find, yeah, like where we can strike the switch statement or strike the while loop. So yeah, you can see that it remembers your settings there. Still working on some of the things like, well, if I shrink, in this view, if I shrink the whole function, should I shrink the whole function in disassembly view? So there's some little questions like that. So yeah, I'm glad people are excited about that one. I think that's one of those little. So this is actually in my notes for the sort of like other little little like UI kind of niceties and features that people don't always get. So I showed the IL carousel is pane splitting that I really like. Folding. Oh, this is my internal notes. Oh no, don't hack us. That's the test branch I'm using there. Undefine. These last two though, we mentioned one earlier, and I'll do the other one right now real quick too. I actually don't have a great test binary for the forward type propagation. So if I don't know if Mason is still listening, but if you've got a test binary you've been using, feel free to do it to bring it in. But the forward type propagation basically lets you force a type to be propagated forward into calls. So if I've got like a call parameter, because you sort of have like two directions, right? You have like backward propagation from the type itself, and you got forward propagation into it. Just spam Q until everything works. Like, yeah, just hit Q on a bunch of things. This build should have it. Yeah, I think this is rebased recently enough. So let's find something that's like an argument, and I don't know, just hit Q a bunch of places. Yeah, see, I don't see some. I need to. Well, I probably need to actually set some interesting types. What's with these? So again, I should have prepared a test binary for this one, but I forgot to grab that one time. We had too many things on the agenda this week. But the idea is that you can. Ah, there we go. Ah, okay, I grabbed one. I just did something. I don't know what I did, but I did something. Something changed. Here, I can undo it. What was it? X29 minus 64 versus what was it before? Just I'm not sure. I'm not sure what happened, but something happened. So this is apparently a thing that's got some people excited. I'm not part of the Q gang yet. So someone will have to show me the joys of how good it can be. But it sounds like a handy feature. And then the last one was Undefine. Yeah, so the U hotkey is now a little bit smarter. So if you're not familiar, we have a smart structure creation. Like the S hotkey is like, do the thing I want with the structure. It is kind of context sensitive. So if you've got an allocation call and you hit S on the return value, it'll create a structure of that size at that point. And if you hit S on the access to a member, it will create a member of the size of the access kind of automatically. So just SSSS does all the structure stuff. U now does the undefined thing. So we'll undefine like anything. And it used to be you could only undefine like was it just function? I forget what it did before, but you can now like just hit U on just about anything. And it will remove whatever that thing is and make it not a thing anymore. So, or I'm hitting Y, not U. Like, define that function. The function's gone. So U is now like a big gun. You can go shooting down any types of been created things that have happened. That's another nice little quality of life change that made it in folding, Q, IL carousel splitting. All right. Whew. It's been a long one. I knew we had a bunch of good stuff, but this is going strong. So again, we've made progress on unions with the forced versioning. I showed VxWorks. Did I show VxWorks? No, I didn't. I showed MSP 430. I haven't shown VxWorks yet. I mentioned that it's only in Ultimate, but I haven't shown it yet. So no, I do not want to just say the change to the description. Let's up in the file. So, but yeah, just if you've ever done some VxWorks stuff. Did I do this yet? I don't think I did. And you can see like the specific types it pulls out. It also parses the memory map, and we'll pull like symbols. Not there. Where is it? Yeah, it should be some tab. There it is. I clicked the wrong one. You can see custom symbols it's pulling out, and it has support for VxWorks, which I've never been a VxWorks reverse engineer, but certainly that can make your life a lot easier if you've done that. Let's turn feature map back on. You can see the analysis happen. That's the best part about the feature map, is being able to see all the analysis, creating functions as you go through it. So yeah, again, that one's available only to Ultimate users, but if you're on Ultimate, it's another thing to make your life better. And then the last one is, I guess we got Warp. We kind of went alphabetically towards the end. So I'm so sorry, Mike. Yes, I've made all those snippets a little bit more obsolete. I hope to have done so. Now Warp is going to be interesting because I've not demoed this at all. Yeah, you excited, Mason? Let's do it live. Warp is, let me kind of set the stage a little bit. Warp is, and it is sort of our future version of both Flirt and Flare and SigKit and Lumina, and it's eventually meant to be a thing that will scale across multiple reverse engineering tools, across multiple like online search, offline, applying type information for static fingerprints, right? So the whole point of Flirt and Flare is that you've got a compiled library, statically compiled into a binary, and you want to be able to identify things that have been compiled in because you've got a version of that with symbols. And so you don't want to have to manually reverse engineer. And Binary Ninja has had our tool called SigKit, which is in the plugin manager, and you can use that to make your own signatures. It's had some rough edges, but I know just recently somebody was using it to make signatures for a file and then match it against a compiled version of it. It worked for them. But it's been a little while since we've really put a lot of time into it. It was done by an intern when they were here, so what happens unfortunately is if an intern leaves, then there's who's to maintain the code, so it kind of gets abandoned in place, which was a bad choice to let something so important be done. It was a decent implementation, but just doesn't have the same care and feeding. And so really this new version that we're implementing is called Warp, and it's going to warp all the things exactly. So as you may have kind of picked up on it, this is meant to be something that will be useful by Ghidra, by IDA, by Binary Ninja, have a kind of a bigger collection, superset of all these signatures you'd want. So think of it like Illumina, but like on steroids, right? Because all the tools can both create and provide type information and match against it. So that's sort of like the ultimate vision, and we're thinking a lot about how you would handle like search and being able to like on the fly, identify the need for a new library, match the library, and pull it. And also we'll have type information too beyond just symbols, because SigKit was just the symbols, the matching, and then you would have to have a symbol that was also a separate type library match before. So this is meant to be kind of a superset. Yeah, thank you, Mason. That's a great description. So that's Warp. That's the premise behind it. And now let's try it. So GameLogic.dll, I recognize this. This was from well, actually I don't necessarily know that was the case, but this was originally, there was a GameLogic.dll in one of the Pwn Adventure series, but this could just be a Unreal Engine something else. So I'm curious now. Fast traveling. No, is this actually that GameLogic.dll? I feel like it might be. These look like the symbols that I would expect to see. That I'm curious. Yeah, Mason, because I think Glenn provided this one, but so let's see. Yeah, so I'm on a recent dev build. Wait, was there? Where is it? And then there's the SBin. Which build do I need to be on? Let me double check this. I think I might have to be on a build that I didn't actually get in advance. Oh, look at this. He's left me directions, but I got to get the plugin. So where's the Warp plugin? Oh, sent me a plugin. That's right. I'm a little behind. All right, let me go grab it. All right, cool. Latest dev. So all right, let's do it. You can literally see this one. Yeah, like I said, we've had so many things, and I just got back from a funeral this weekend after the hurricane last week. It's been a little wild and crazy. So this one we'll just do it live. Let's see who can out type my wormhole command and race me and get the file first. And actually, let me just go to. I'm already there. Actually, perfect. That's incredibly ironic. I was just in Michigan, right next there. Oh, nobody got the file in time. Let's try the next two files. All right. Although putting this in the plugin folder, these may not be the right file for it. Some of these words are kind of weird. All right, yeah, this is the most live that it gets. All right, so I've got that. Let's pop open latest dev. Let's see if it's actually latest dev. As long as nobody's been pushing there while we've been streaming. We'll see how it goes. All right, well, I do have 5 errors. Let's see. Is it? Yeah, sudo python couldn't be loaded. That is expected. It's not that it really matters that much. Let's just make sure we get no errors after we do that. Make it easy. Make sure we're not missing something. All right, cool. So I've got game logic. And it's in the project. And then I've also got this sbin file. So I should be able to, let's see, let's just scan. Let's just first get it. Yeah, a lot of, yeah, this totally looks like the game logic from Bonaventure. I don't know if it is for sure or not, but yeah, we've got a couple of symbols here, probably just exports. Currency, maybe concurrency. Okay, I don't know. Curious where that's coming from. And now let's. All right, so now let's try this. Plugins, warp, apply signature file. And I'm just going to do it to the one I have on disk, desktop file, warp. Ooh, here we go. This one got a symbol. Okay. So let's take a look at where our, yeah, there we go. So a whole bunch of new symbols that all got pattern matched. So there we go. Yeah, we can basically match the pattern libraries. Oh, those are signatures that are borked. Oh, this is the bad one. The sbin is not the right one. Oh, see, now I should go back. Let's go back. Let's read the directions together. Let's see. I'm actually just kind of YOLOing it when I should go back and read. Okay, open a game logic and apply. Select the game logic to but I did. Go to the tag view to see match functions. Okay, cool. So let's go to tag view. Okay, so it makes tags. Oh, that's nice to see which ones were. I mean, actually, I was in one before, which was bare chest. This is totally Bonaventure. Oh wait, this is unresolved stack adjustment nodes. This is not the tag type I wanted necessarily. Let's see here. Maybe that's not the view that I wanted. What did tag view mean in this context? Meta workflows. Yeah, so it probably won't crash, but it will be slow. All right, so this is the beginning of sort of next generation. So like I said, I think the first version is to sort of replace SIGKit. The idea is to make it faster, more performant, and more future-proof, so the signatures you make will actually be able to work with an eventual like automated distribution system. So you'll be able to push and pull them and get them matched from an online service, much like Lumina. Oh, types. Okay, sorry. Okay, let's see here. Oh, they don't go into system. Where did the types go? I did load them, right? Yeah, so we see. Actually, here, let's see. Where did. I don't know if I see the types yet either. Maybe like, oh wait, accounting data, 132 common. Yeah, I'm not sure which one those are. Analysis still, yeah, I don't see. I'm not missing it. Oh, so it's not loading all the types currently. Okay. So again, this is kind of just an early preview release, but I think this one is still expected. Read ahead buffer is 1 line too less. Oh, I've already navigated. I think I may have missed it. We do see like the symbol information being commented here. Oh, that one needs a template simplifier. Let me see if I can navigate back and get to where I was before. Oh, my read ahead buffer. Sorry, I should say, yeah. Yeah, not the decompilation. All right. Okay. So I think that's the end of it. You can tell I'm winding down. I was up at 4:45 this morning. It's been a long day. So let me go back through the list, make sure I got it. We talked about the customer portal. The debugger has a bunch of improvements and changes. We now have the IDB import and on enabled. Please file issues if you find them in it. And MSP 430 architecture support is on dev live. Dyld shared cache is coming, and if you're interested in being a part of the beta test of that, ping us on the public Slack. High-level language plugins are now a thing. We're shipping Rust and Python dev really soon. I know it's been too long, Robert. Sorry for taking so long. Thanks everybody, a ton of y'all hanging out and watching this. Appreciate you guys spending. This was a long stream. This is a very long one, but there's a ton of good features. And despite me doing a bad job of showing Mason's work particularly well at the end here, Warp is I think going to be really exciting. There'll be not only a better workflow around how you manage your signatures, but also just a bunch of future stuff that enables. So I'm looking forward to getting that into y'all's hands and letting y'all check it out more in future releases. So yeah, unless you have any other questions, we'll probably wrap it up here pretty soon. Thanks, Arno. I appreciate it. Yeah, we really want to keep kind of pushing, doing new and different, and finding ways to improve the state of the art. It's very much one of our goals. So hopefully you see that as well. And it's a mixture between doing new things and just making sure the old things we can fix up and do and match features and kind of doing both at the same time. And it feels like we're maintaining that pace. So hopefully we'll kind of keep that going. Spammy Q was the best demo. That was not the best demo. I did not have a good demo prepared for that one. So definitely that one I can practice on. Maybe the next stream I'll have a better example because I know there's a bunch of really good uses for it. So sweet. Yeah, thank you, Ben. I appreciate you hanging out as well too. We'll probably shut down here, but as always, if you have any questions, hit us up on the Binge Slack, or we'll see you next time we stream. Make sure you've subscribed and smash that bell or whatever the kids are saying now to get notifications every time we do go live. And you can always catch it afterwards. So if you miss a stream, we do put chapter marks up a few days after the stream itself, so you can go straight to any of the topics that are of interest to you and maybe get a little bit less of my meandering in between. So take care, everybody. Have a good week, and we'll see you hopefully in a few weeks as we get closer to a release of 4.2. Oh, wait, hold on. I got to turn the towel on. Can I get the towel? Let's see here. Yeah, there we go. It's important we get the towel up here to set it out. So take care, everybody. We will catch you later. Bye-bye.